Good evening. This is Ari Kopel with Shattering the Matrix. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm going to be speaking with you all about protection against evil forces and other events that seem to be coming around a neighborhood near us very shortly. Just wanted to address this, of course, with you all to give you some, tools to be able to use that you can protect yourself and your loved ones if you so choose to do so. But first I wanted to, talk a little bit about what I know to be the prime creator. The prime creator, of course, the word prime is because that is the ultimate. It also means that the prime creator is the all that is, and that means that it is all encompassing, which means that there is no duality in that particular level. So it's all encompassing. It's from that level, then there is the creation of creators that are in charge of creating other realms, other universes and such, and each one of those is given a task, obviously. Some will produce realms or universes that are of the light, and then there's some that create universes that are of the dark. And it is what it is. There's no judgment at that level because each one is doing what they need to do. But in reality, the prime creator in that particular level, everything is unified. Everything is all-encompassing, like I said. There is a reason why this is done, and of course, the ones that are of the light vibration will tend to promote life, will respect life, create beauty, create joy, and that type of thing. The ones that are of the darker ones, they have a different outlook of things. It's a little bit more of there is no free will there. It tends to look like it seems to be like more of a power hungry type of creations, if we want to see it that way. The beings that come out of that tend to be a little bit more of maybe of a hive mentality. There is no individuation like there is in the light universes. So there is a distinction, though, and so to say that there is no darkness is not true. It's just that maybe in the highest realm of the highest portion of the creation, it is all encompassing. Everything is there. There is no differentiation at that point. But darkness, for example, let me, define what maybe what we call light based on the dictionary. But and what we see as evident as light, of course, it would be in the cosmos would be, of course, the stars, which are suns, anything that's luminous, gaseous material, supernovas and such. These are sources of light. So light is the radiance or illumination from a particular source. That is the definition in a dictionary. So a particular source would be a flashlight, would be a candle, or flame, would be a star, for example. It's also a vibration. It's also one of the higher vibrations because obviously the higher the vibration, the more light that it emanates, right? So that would be, for example, light. Darkness is a lower vibration. The definition of it is absence of light. The adjective for that would be radiating, admitting, or reflecting little light, or having little or no light. So it's the obviously the opposition of light. It's just that's the way it is. It's also evident in the cosmos, all that area that is in between those little focal points, what we call stars and luminous gaseous material and whatnot. It could also be seen as the glue that holds it all together. That's what it looks like. It's dark. It's dark material. It's there on purpose. The good thing is that when these two are working together in balance, then that's the way it's supposed to be. It's the yin and yang. It's the opposites working together. I certainly would hate to be in a universe that you cannot, see any more light because it's so bright and so brilliant that another light just kind of fades right in. It blends right in. You wouldn't be able to distinguish anything. The same thing with something that would be totally dark. You wouldn't be able to see, something that is bright or something that is beautiful because it's all dark. It's overwhelming. It totally quashes it. So. The darkness is it basically just you cannot have an excess of one or the other is what I'm trying to say, because one will quash the other. Therefore, there is no balance. There's nothing more beautiful, in my opinion, to be sitting in a porch swing, outside when the evening starts falling, and to be able to see the play of the shadows on the trees and the leaves and whatnot, and to be able to see the faint stars coming into view, and to be able to appreciate the moon and all that. That is just exquisite, and that's the perfect balance when it's like that. But when it goes off balance, when it goes into a state of being an awry, that's the problem, and that's what we're experiencing when we are in a denser world like this one, where the darkness has gotten off balance, and it's actually pretty much trying to quash the light from expressing itself. So that's one thing that I wanted to mention, because some people are of the opinion that there is no darkness, and there is. That, again, would be a disinformation presented by perhaps misinterpretation or misperceptions of certain belief systems that have been, or belief systems or understandings that may have been given down through the lineage or whatever, and may have been just like a person plays telephone. You play telephone, the original person gives the message, and then by the time it gets down to the 20th person, the message has changed completely in its context and its meaning, whatever. But it would be probably the same thing. I think that there something was taken off context there. I want to also define for you the qualities of what something of light might look like, or people that serve the light, the qualities that they have, versus the ones that perhaps do not serve the light, or people that believe that they serve the light, but yet they hold on to certain qualities in their behavior, in their understanding, in their belief system. And obviously when it's in the brain, it's in the mind, it's in the heart, it's in the emotional body, it's expressing somehow, whether you're conscious of it or not. But it's really important to understand what qualities represent something that is of a higher vibration or light, and those qualities that represent the denser or the lower vibration or darkness. For example, the word light also could be called luminous or luminosity. The opposite of that would be darkness, or something that is obscure. Okay? So when we, for example, have the quality of goodness, those that have that quality of goodness, the opposite would be evil. Okay? So that evil is a quality of what is the darker vibration, the denser vibration. Okay? The opposite of the light. We have the quality of humility, which serves the light, the higher vibration. The darker version is arrogance. Okay, so if we're expressing ourselves with a little bit of arrogance, then we're really not vibrating to that higher vibration. The word compassion, or the act of being compassionate, is the higher vibration for what would be representing the light forces, or the light. The opposite of that would be being merciless, or having indifference, or mercilessness is the word I was trying to say. And even indifference is the opposite. So a lot of indifference I've noticed, not just from regular humanity, but just from the beings that have come into this world to help this planet turn around and bring it to a higher vibration, we see a lot of indifference by just the mere fact of looking away or being in denial. The act of being in service to others is a vibration that is of the higher vibration, obviously serving the light. The opposite of that is self-serving. So anything that is, you're doing for yourself only is self-serving. So we need to take a look at that a little bit more and see, okay, well, who are you really serving by being self-serving or thinking about one's own ascension only, or one's not disturbing one's own peace or harmony because we don't want to look at others' problems, which is pretty much the whole world is in a turmoil right now, and by not looking at it, then we are being self-serving. So therefore, the vibration is lower. Excuse me. Nurturing, the act of being nurturing. Direct opposite of that would be neglect. State of impeding others, squelching, prohibiting the deprivation of others, to be in ignorance or to ignore others. That is the direct opposite of nurturing. And there's a lot of that going on as well. So those are the ones that serve the dark forces or the lower vibrational attitudes and whatnot, of neglect, of ignoring things, of prohibiting things from getting better by not doing anything. Those are the darker vibrations. And along with that, of course, with the nurturing of being high vibration would be life promoting. Anything that's life promoting that allows for life to be, that would also be of the higher vibration along with nurturing. Joy is a higher vibration, obviously. The opposite of that is misery, is sorrow, grief, and unhappiness. So that would be obviously the darker one. Courage, the opposite of that is cowardice. To be able to thrive, to allow to thrive, which is a higher vibration, it works directly with the light. The opposite would be to stunt or wither, to hinder, or be oppressive, as a lot of governments are becoming oppressive and not allowing people to thrive. So that also you can find in relationships where one partner will stunt the other or hinder the other. So that and it's a state of being oppressive towards the other. So that is not of the light. Anything that is vibrant or vibrancy that takes action, that is of the light, as opposed to apathy or dullness or inactivity, lethargy, lifelessness, and of course inaction. Inaction is a way of being or a state where you're obviously the frequency is very low, and it's obviously on the side where of the spectrum of the darkness. Expansion, for example, or expansion of consciousness, to use the word so you can understand what I mean by expansion. The opposite would be compression or stagnation, withering. Okay, anything like that would be the opposite of the light, would be the darkness aspect. Anything that respects and honors life forms or all life, exalts it, gives it dignity, dignifies it, reveres it. The opposite would be to despise it, to be disrespectful of it, to reproach it or disregard it. Again, if we disregard life and all the things that are happening so that it can thrive and it can be in its full existence and expression, then we are on the side of the spectrum of darkness. It's the lower vibration, just by ignoring it. Creation. The word creation, of course, the opposite would be destruction, ruin, death. So if we are not helping things, in the process of creation, then we are in the opposite spectrum. Love, the opposite is hate. also apathy and indifference. And love being, of course, the highest vibration. The opposite directly is hate. Hate, of course, can come from fear, but hate is something that is destructive. Then we have, for example, the word calm and ease, which also can be equated with confidence and fearlessness and bravery, and the opposite of that is fear. So where do you find yourself? Are you on one side or the other, or some things you're of the light and the other ones are you're vibrating with the dark? The whole point is to obviously be in service and to be allow the light, which has been now is totally being quashed by the dark, because it's just advancing so quickly that life forms of all sorts are suffering. And it's not just humanity that's suffering, but all life is suffering. The planet is suffering because of all the oil spills and the radiation and all the things that are happening. Even the vibration is so low right now that the planet is suffering. So we cannot allow that by just being in service to ourselves and thinking that just by meditating it's gonna go away. I wanted to also address with you the fact that we learn from all sorts of different venues. We pick up information that is necessary to to know where we're at, to learn about the world we're in, what the status of things are, as well as to pick up on information that further unveils us. Sometimes, the information that we hear, just one word, might bring soul memory, that is very crucial to be effective as light beings here on this planet. And when we totally filter out all information that is not resonating with us because it's not in the same frequency, or it's not delivered in a manner that we want to have it delivered, then we miss out on a whole bunch of wonderful things that will help us to get to the next level, either in our evolution, our personal evolution, and also the evolution as for the whole planet as well as the cosmos, because we're all part of the mind of the universal mind, and we all have functions to do, each one of us, so that if we're missing out on the certain tools because we just don't remember how to use them, and how do we remember how to use them is that, of course, they could be dormant, but something could have triggered it to become active. We're missing out on all that. So I equate it similar to a communication specialist in a battalion, let's say, when they're in the middle of a war, and they're the communication specialist, and their responsibility is to take in information that they hear from intelligence officers, and maybe even from even the enemy. They're listening in for clues, and they're supposed to relay that information to, of course, their commanders, so that they have the right intel to be able to determine what to do next, so that they have a much better chance of being victorious. But the communication specialist feels that the information being given is not being said in the right way. The tone is off. The person communicating had a little attitude. Maybe it was just a little loud, or the guy's voice was a little raunchy. I'm not going to take in that. I'm not going to relay that information. I'm not going to even take it in because it just didn't sound right to me. I don't think that is the most intelligent communication specialist out there, and I would fire his butt in a second. And that's what a lot of us do, believe it or not. Being so spiritually mature that we think we are, that we have to have the pizza delivered in a certain box, and it's got to be a certain temperature, and the crust has to be just this way, and the cheese can't come up to the side. Give me a break. All right, give me a break. We're in the middle of a spiritual war where we are crucial. All of us participating to our fullest is crucial for this to be successful. And if we're not getting the information because it's delivered in a way, in a manner that it wasn't the way that you wanted, it didn't resonate with your, it affected you, it rustled your feathers, the voice, but you're not picking up on the message, I don't know that there's something just not right with that. And I strongly suggest that you sit with that a little bit and find out if that is the smartest thing to do. Because we're not only mature by now, I mean, we're not children, and I think some of the children here are a little bit more mature spiritually than a lot of us are being older in age and in a physical body. We're not really with it when we're making comments and stating that this is the only way you're going to pick up information. I just don't understand that for the life of me. And of course, the evidence of what we see in the external world is because of the way we're acting in ourselves. The ones that are supposed to make a difference are totally missing the mark in many, many ways. This particular talk is not a rant. I'm hoping it's not. But I just have to address that because I just don't, I see that a lot, and it needs to be turned around like ASAP, like yesterday. Then I also see the word that's being used that is not wanting to be used anymore. The word light worker. Yes, I do see it. It's been overused, and now it's received a negative connotation for the same reasons of what I just expressed. That the word light worker, the light worker community is doing everything but working. And so a lot of people are now expressing the fact that they don't like the word work. Because why? Because it's not ease, it's not happy, it's not joyful, it's not allowing, it's whatever. They're equating perhaps the word work with a picture in the mind that says, well, work. Let's see. I picture myself, or I picture a person wearing a uniform, that's striped uniform, with a ball and chain tied around their ankle, and they're breaking rocks with a pick, and they're sweating, and they're thirsty, and it's hard labor. And I guess that must be what people think of when they think work. Whereas the definition of the word work, for example, is exertion or effort directed to produce or accomplish something. Well, let's see. What are we trying to accomplish? Maybe the transformation of a world that has gone dark. And I'm using the word dark on purpose. Okay. It has gone to the lower vibrations. So therefore, it's in the opposite spectrum, the opposite end of the spectrum of the light. It's gone dark. And it's evidenced by everything we see in the external world. Everything that we see, that we hear, every little bit of news, atrocities that we hear about, all those things are not representations of the light. So therefore, we need to accomplish something, which means to turn it back to a higher vibration, so that everything on the planet is allowed to thrive and allowed to live and allowed to be enjoyed. It's the right of every single sentient being and every life form on a planet. So if we're not exerting an effort to do that, then it's not going to happen by itself, because already there's a body in motion, and unless it's stopped, that body in motion will continue. And that body in motion are the dark forces that have continued to be, to procreate themselves on the planet because of the fact that nothing is stopping it. And just because we call ourselves light workers and we're doing everything to not uphold that light, if we're being indifferent, if we're being apathetic, if we're doing all the things that I just mentioned, the list before of the opposites, if any of those things are happening with any of us, then we are allowing the dark forces to grow in numbers and to be stronger. So there's nothing stopping it. Therefore, we need to get to work. And how do we get to work? Well, then we need to be cognizant of what's going on and do something to as maybe even as together and the collective of the light forces that are here to address these issues that are being implemented, these issues that are being put on the planet that are creating so much suffering and that are compromising the actual world that we're living on at this moment. So another thing is that work is also means being productive. It's something that is in action. It's in motion. It's a motion that's forward. It's a forward motion. It always has an end result. And if we're just living day by day, like we're, a little ship without a sail and without any direction, then, the waves are going to take us here and there, and there's no destination. There's no end result. And therefore, our goals are not going to be met at all. We're basically being pushed here and there by forces that are not, again, working of the highest vibration, and the end result is a world that is totally compromised and suffering everywhere, and just death, just the death of a planet, and that is totally unacceptable. So yes, we need to be working. Working means being proactive, means being engaged, means putting our experiences and talents that we've acquired throughout our lives, and using our higher vibrations, which is the light that we carry, the codes of the divine that we carry, putting those into action to affect the change that we want. It doesn't happen by osmosis. So the word work is critical. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't pretend that that's not what we need to do. We need to work. That's what we have to do. And the work means effecting change. It happens by us being engaged. Period. There is no other way of doing this. It's not going to happen through others coming in to save us. It's just not. We are the ones that we're supposed to do it. Part of it is, it's a creation process. That's what work is. Work is the creation process. For example, an artist or who is a sculptor, let's say, that person specializes in sculptures, and the first thing that has to happen, of course, is the inspiration of a certain sculpture that person wants to do. They get inspired. They get the idea of what this might look like. Then they have the driving force, which is that passion to get it done, because there's got to be some fuel to get you from point A to point B. I mean, what's going to get you from a state of inertia of just wanting to relax and want to see the sunset and to hear the beautiful music and hear the birds chirping and all that wonderful stuff, and being in the garden all day long communing, but at some point in time that there has to be something that drives you to get that sculpture done. So that is passion, a passion to do that. Then you've got to have the actual action to get that sculpture done. Not only the passion, but you actually have to have the physical involved, where you're picking up that chisel and you're picking up a hammer and you're actually doing the work. It's not going to happen just by sitting down and visualizing that sculpture done out of a piece of marble or a piece of wood. Not in this realm anyway. It's not going to happen. In the higher realms, yes, but not in this realm. In this realm, it takes those steps to accomplish something. So it takes action. It takes your physical being. And again, I repeat, that's why we're in physicality. And I may not have said it in this program, but I've said it in many other programs. And it's one of the reasons we're in physicality is because we have to comply with the formula that has been set in place for a realm like this one to be able to accomplish things. All right? So work is what it takes. Work, picking up a chisel, picking up the hammer, actually doing the work, and then getting the end result, which is the sculpture. It's not with a que sera sera attitude or the wishing attitude. It's actually being engaged in doing the work. And then lastly, I wanted to talk to you about protection, because it's imperative that since we are beings of light and we represent the divine realms embodied here on the planet that is extremely dense and that has been compromised in so many ways, that we protect ourselves, especially for the things that we see that are happening in the outer world that are not exactly very pleasant, and that if they escalate any further, it's going to create a lot of suffering on the planet. And there's if there's a way that you can alleviate that suffering for yourselves and your family members and your friends and whatnot, then I strongly recommend you do that. I personally use these forms of protection. I'm just going to discuss one, and specifically today, just one, because I do use various other ones, but this one I use continuously, and it's in my subconscious. I just do it over and over again, and it's almost like I use it like a prayer, but it creates such a high vibration. It acts like a shield for me. It gets me into it allows me to do a lot of astral traveling. I have a lot of outer body experiences, and because of that higher vibration, I've had contact with, of course, beings from the illumined worlds and whatnot. And it's also the salutation that is used by the beings of light that serve Prime Creator, and also the ultra-terrestrials that I have the privilege of knowing and working with me. So what I do is I do the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Sebayot. I say it over and over again under my breath, continuously, repeatedly, unceasingly. It is in my conscious thinking. It's also in my subconscious, and so many times when I've said it in my consciousness, and when I'm actually saying it out loud, I see, I can actually see changes or divine intervention that comes to me in a particular moment of danger, for example. And I'll give you a couple of instances of what that may look like that has happened in my personal life, to give you an example of what how that happens. But I'm going to read to you what from the 72 Divine Names, or the 72 Sacred Names book written by J.J. Hurtak. Dr. Hurtak did not invent the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Sebayot. Okay, just wanted to clarify that. But I'm reading from his definition of it because I thought it was very well put together. The only thing is that I do not use the word Father when I address it in my definition of it, because in the higher realms, in the true higher realms of Prime Creator, there is no gender, believe it or not. And for those who believe there is gender in those higher realms, have not been there. The genders occur in the lower realms as a way for procreation purposes, but in the higher realms there isn't any, especially in the Prime Creator's what is defined as Prime Creator. There is no gender. So I don't, when I read it and I say Father, you can substitute that, or if you believe that there is, that the Prime Creator is Father, or that your God is Father, then by all means, then, understand that as such. I don't use it as such. But, and then, of course, the word kingdom could mean whatever kingdom means, whether it's the throne worlds, whether it's the kingdom of heaven, whether it's the realm where Prime Creator resides. Whatever that means for you, it has a different meaning for me, but however you can understand it. So Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Sebayot, he says that through its power, all creative forms are connected with the divine eternal law in holiness and sanctification. This cosmic sound provides additional octaves of sound beyond the normal human range, through which every subatomic particle is activated by its own unique color vibration. On the highest personal level, the Trinity power of the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh can create a hypervortex or pillar of divine energy through which superspace and supertime can be crossed by this physical body, placing us in resonance with other levels of divine intelligence. This formula can also be used to invoke divine protection, since this holy expression is a link between all hierarchies as a salutation of the brotherhood with a common father. I would say with a common creator. It creates a pillar of energy protection which can be used in all practical situations for problem solving, healing, and all manner of raising consciousness, and wherever we need to project energy to do the work of the kingdom. Okay, so that's what he defines as the Kadosh. And again, I just substituted what I felt because I feel that the Creator, like I said, it doesn't have gender. But the suggestion is to do it at least 3 times, but to have it more with more power, it would be at least 12 times. I personally just say it continuously. It's just part of my. It's almost like a mantra. Like some people will do their mantras, some people do a rosary. I do the Kadosh, and it's never failed me, ever. I have some instances, for example, of what that might have looked like in my life. And I'll give you an example, for example, of when I left Florida to move to Nashville. I had bought a huge trailer, a 7x16 trailer, which I pulled behind a pickup truck that was loaded with more than the weight that it required. I think I was pulling over 7 tons of between household furniture and boxes and everything. Problem was that not only was it extremely packed with and the weight was over the amount of the limit that it was allowed. The brakes, since the moment I had bought it, it worked for a little bit and then it stopped working. And then it would work again and then it would stop. And then for a long time it just never went back in and never engaged. It has separate brakes, in other words, for those the truck. It has a set of a total of 4 tires or 4 wheels. And this particular trailer, because of its size, has to have its own braking system because the weight is just so huge that if it doesn't, it would ram right into the back end of the pickup truck. But that particular day when we were moving, I already had set my mind on moving that day because I just had to. There was that window of opportunity. I needed to leave Florida. And that particular day, it was pouring. There was I don't know if there was a tropical system or something like that, but it was raining so hard. And so as I'm traveling, my brakes are not working. And because of the amount of weight in that trailer, the trailer was swaying from one side to another, from one lane to another, and then it was pouring, so it was slipping. And I couldn't brake it. Every time I would encounter a car that would get in the lane in front of me that would go a little slower, that I'd have to brake. The brake was not engaging. It was not stopping the trailer. So therefore, the trailer would bang towards my back. It would slip also, going from one lane to the next. And I was extremely frightened. I was extremely scared. And I had not only all my goods in the back of that trailer, but I had all my pets in the back of the bed portion of my pickup truck, which does have a camper on it, so they were protected in there. But all my pets were there, and then of course in the cab was my daughter and my partner, and we're in there, and I'm feeling that any moment, something's gonna happen. Either the trailer's gonna flip over. It's going to hit another car. It's going to ram into us. And all I could do was do the Kadoshes. And it was continuous. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebayot. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebayot. Over and over and over. I would say it out loud. I would sing it. I would say it under my breath. I would think it. I wouldn't stop. And it just went on and on and on until all of a sudden, within this most massive rain that I couldn't see in front of me, the brake engages. It starts working, and from that moment on, it worked until now. It's still working, and this was many years ago. So it went from not working to working, instantaneously, miraculously, by divine intervention. It just worked. I also felt the presence of course, a lot of illumined beings. At that point, ascended masters. The more I did it, the more calm I felt. The more I felt that I was being protected and guided. That's what happened, and I went from a state of fear, of not knowing if this is going to work. Am I going to make it? Will this thing flip? Having all these imagery, the imagery of failure, imagery of accidents, imagery of death. The more I said the Kadosh, the higher my vibration became, the more I was like engulfed in a bubble. That's what I felt. I was like in a bubble, like in a shield, like in a sphere, and that nothing could happen to me regardless of what happened. And as soon as I knew that indeed that happened, that indeed I was protected, that I was shielded, that all the beings of light were there guiding me, click, I felt the thing engage, and the brakes started working from that moment on. And my journey, of course, obviously I made it because I'm talking to you. But that's just one example. There are examples, for example, of the time that I was in Florida, and I was preparing a house that I had. I was preparing it and getting it all furnished up and everything for a very special friend, a very dear friend of mine that was coming to live in that house. And just so you know, at all times, I usually have a spacecraft, a vehicle, a light ship. Usually minimum of one, usually three. And this particular day, I wear glasses, and my vision, the glasses were so small, and that there were areas when I look in the periphery, they're not in focus. So only if I look through the actual glass lens of the glasses can I see. But every time that I look away from it, I don't see. It's blurry. So this particular day, I was carrying two huge drawers full of items or boxes. I think they were boxes, if I'm not mistaken. One piled on top of each other, very, very heavy. And there was a little step, like a little porch area that I had to step up to. And because I was carrying these boxes, the only thing that I could see, that I could gauge where I was stepping, was the bottom area of the lens where I couldn't see very well. And then that particular lens or area, it was blurry. I missed a step, and I totally fell on my knees to the point that I shattered them. The pain was so excruciating that all I could do was scream. My partner ran down from the truck and ran to me and started trying to hold my knees, and I kept telling her to stop, don't even touch me, between the tears. And all I could do was do the Kadosh. That's all I was able to do, was the Kadosh. And it was over and over and over. I was whispering it, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebayot, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebayot. And all of a sudden, I find myself simultaneously on the ship that was above my the area of where my house was. So I'm on the ship, and I'm on an examination table, and I see of course the beings of light that I work with. They're all there, and they're telling me to calm down. And all of a sudden, the beams, they start putting beams of light and frequency of sound on the knees. Okay, so I'm seeing this, I'm experiencing this at the same time I'm on the ground, experiencing the ground, and all of a sudden, it wasn't all of a sudden, but it took a little time. I would tell you that, in my opinion, it might have been about 10 minutes, I think, while I was lying on the ground. But all of a sudden, after those 10 minutes portion of time passed, that I went from excruciating pain to feeling no pain. And then the next thing I know is that I'm back in the ground. I'm no longer on the ship, and I'm told to get up and to go about my business, and that's exactly what I did. I stretched out my knees. There was no more pain. There was nothing. It was as if nothing had happened. I got up, picked up the boxes, and continued. Now, I know that I was taken on with my astral body. Obviously, my physical was still on the ground, but what happens is when I do the Kadosh, it's like I automatically connect with those higher realms or those beings of higher frequencies, and it's never failed. It's almost like a beacon. Sometimes I'm not even doing the Kadosh, and I'll give you some examples that I haven't been doing the Kadosh or don't use the Kadosh, but I've done it so often that I'm still a beacon to them, that my vibration is sensed, and that they hone in on me, that, I don't know, they just pick up on the vibration, and they materialize, or they come into my assistance, even when I haven't specifically asked for their assistance. So these are just two examples. Another example, let's see which one I can bring up. Trying to find out how much time we have. We have, for example, I'll give you an example of a situation where I was taken through my astral body to one of those facilities, those underground facilities where they do these terrible things to people. They're the MyLabs and whatnot. I was taken through my astral body because it has, knock on wood, so far it hasn't been physical, but and it's not going to happen because of the kind of protection that I'm talking about. But they attempted it with the astral body. I find myself in an underground. I wasn't in the underground base, but they were taking me to the underground base, and I knew what they were going to do to me and a whole bunch of other people that were also taken the same way. And I was experiencing such fear, such terror, such dread, that I was going into almost shock, just knowing what was going to happen to all of us. And the only thing I could think of doing, because we were going to be brought into, one of the creatures was going to come up and take us in. It was for me to start doing the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Sebayot, and I just kept saying it over and over and over and over, unceasingly, and that's all I could say and think in my head then, and all of a sudden it just dissolved. I saw that those beings, not just the beings, the extraterrestrials that were going to take us, but the actual men that there were government agents or military people that were bringing us into those underground bases. They actually ran inside the caves, and the next thing we know is that I find myself and the rest of the people by ourselves free, and we just ran. And the next thing I know, of course, I find myself back in my body, but it was so real that and this is before I even knew about MyLabs, before I knew about underground bases, before I even knew about what is done down there. I mean, I just recently acquired this information now of what's going on, and I'm bringing it to you guys. But it was an experience that was absolutely horrific. Things that actually do happen, but I strongly suggest, especially all those that are hearing this message that are military abductees, that are experiencing this still, anytime that you're confronted with an evil entity or alien or whatever, even a person, please use this Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Sebayot, because it is also a way for you to distinguish between ETs that serve the Prime Creator, that serve the light, versus those ETs that are imposters that serve the false light, the ones that really serve the darker forces, the lower vibrational entities or forces that are also have their own worlds that they come from and are infestations to the worlds that want to be living in peace and harmony and are pro-life. So whenever you want to determine who's who, use the salutation, because they have to say this back to you. So when you say Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Sebayot several times, at least 3 times, to an entity or an ET or something like that that's in front of you, they need to sing that back to you or say it back to you. They cannot say it back to you if they do not serve, because it's the vibration that it gives out. They have to be in that resonance. They have to be in that vibration. If they're not, they cannot say it. And if they can't say it, then you need to disengage from them, ask them to leave, tell them to leave, command them to leave, and you leave also. So, those are the things that you need to do, because they obviously don't serve the light. They do not have your best intention in mind. I'm trying to think what else. Another example, for example, even with the natural world, wasps, for example, are, obviously have a tendency to sting people. Well, I have this connection with the wasp because the vibration is amazing. That, if we're in tune with Prime Creator, and there is no, that's what's animating you, and then you have that same vibration, then you're in agreement, you're in the same resonance. So, for example, a wasp nest would, if somebody passes by a wasp nest, for example, that person might have a tendency of getting stung, yet when I pass by it, they do not. And I'll give you an example. My daughter was outside just minding her own business in the porch, in the back porch area, doing a project, an art project, and there was not even a nest there, and she got stung, I think, twice with some wasps that were just rogue in that area. And I was doing some cleaning. I believe it was either that same day or the next. I had a rug that was drying outside that had been there for a while. I just kind of forgot about it, and so I said, you know what? It's time to pick up this rug because I just got to bring it in. So I picked up the rug that was laying over the rail of the little stairs that go up to the house. And when I picked that up, there was a whole wasp nest that was formed there, and all the wasps started coming out. I mean, like by the droves. They just came out and surrounded me, and all I could do was stay very still and went into that vibration of the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Sebayot. I just kept saying it over and over again, and I was in that oneness where I couldn't distinguish myself from the wasp. We were one. They were seeing me. I was seeing them. I was seeing it through wasp eyes, and they were probably seeing me through human eyes. And we became one in that vibration of the all that is, where there's no separation. And those wasps, even though they were just swarming all over me, left me alone. I just became one with them. And all I felt was love, and all I felt was that oneness that comes with being one with that force, that all intelligence of the universal mind of Prime Creator. And that's what happened. So it's almost like a force field, a shield, that vibration where everything is glued together, where everything comes from that primeval source, that point of origin, what they call the, I guess it's beyond oneness. It's another word I'm trying to find that is overused also. But anyway, that's what I'm trying to say, is that everything comes from that Prime Creator in a place where there is no differentiation of, okay, you're of the dark, you're of the light. If we can come into that point where everything is that oneness, then everything works. But when we're saying, okay, no, I'm going to be all evil and I'm going to overcome the light, or I'm just going to be so much light that we can't distinguish anything that is of beauty also, which is also shadows and silhouettes and things like that, then everything is off balance. But so the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Sebayot creates that vibration where everything is in sync to the perfection of that divine blueprint of that oneness of the all that isness of Prime Creator. So it's not only a vibration that not only does your vibration increase, it also serves as a shield. It serves as a method of being able to communicate with the higher realms and the beings that serve the Prime Creator that are in those higher realms. And when I mean higher realms, it's the higher vibrational areas or realms. And it acts also as a cloak where you're not detected from others that are of the darker nature, of the darker forces, or the darker lower vibrations that have ill will or ill intention towards you. So it acts as a invisibility or a cloaking device. I also personally use the I am that I am, because that is the form of creation that is used. The word I am, and then anything after that is creates it, manifests it. So I will use something like, I am that I am, because that means I am the all that is. I am the all, the powerful, or I am the creator. I am co-creator. I am invisible. I am shielded. I am whole. I am healthy. I am a being of light. I am victorious. I am protected. I use that I am before all these empowering words, and therefore it has no choice but to be. It has no choice, because that is the most powerful, creative, spoken word, the words that can be said in the universe. The I am, and then you use it with that all-affirming, powerful, whatever it is, quality that you want to give it. But of course, if you use it in a way that it's disempowering, I am dumb, I am stupid, I am ineffective, I am lazy, I am not feeling well, anything with I am in front of it, it will qualify it, it will make it come true. So don't use those things, only with powerful, empowering words and qualities. And I think I've pretty much gotten through it. I mean, I use other things to protect myself as well. I do use the electronic circle of the Mighty I Am Presence, which I completely surround myself with, and that is probably something that needs to be talked about in a different talk program, because it really is something, it's just very powerful. But just know that if you envision an electronic circle or a bubble around you, that it's of an electronic nature that works with Prime Creator, that is it's a force field that nothing can penetrate it. Even an atomic bomb can explode next to you and it won't penetrate it. That's how powerful it is. I completely shield myself with that. And just so you know, as a quick so you understand how effective all these things are, especially with something that is an entity, a negative ET, or anything like that, or even just calamities, okay? Just know that that when you're inside these electronic circle of the Mighty I Am Presence, when you use the word I am protected, and you use it along with, of course, the Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebayot, it has no, you have absolutely nothing to fear, because you have to know that this is indeed the way that Prime Creator, that it is a force that is created by Prime Creator as a way to protect all its creatures. That's the vibration that you're in. And to give you an example of how the natural world works with this, because the natural world, of course, it doesn't have that evil mind that has been that has infested humanity, but works directly with Prime Creator, because that's what they're functioned from, right? Even when I do healings, I can heal an animal a lot quicker than I can probably do a human being when they start rationalizing, gosh, will this work, will this not work, that doubt, that we've been so jaded, an animal is not like that. They're already connected to Source. So I just wanted to leave you with this following story that happened to me when I was in Mount Shasta, one of the many times that I've been to Mount Shasta. But actually, it was one of the times that I went with a group of people that I had met for the first time there, and I became very close to one of the women there. I taught her about the what the Kadosh was. So we went with a group of people to Mount Shasta. We went to the area called Bunny Flats, and then she and I decided to go a little further higher up in a hill where we had a better view, and we thought that maybe there we could all do our meditation and do our thing there. And I have amazing pictures, just so you know, for all of us, all of you who are part of the 2012emergence.com site. A lot of those pictures that I was able to capture, and others were able to capture, are there, of what happened that day, which was absolutely amazing. So I strongly invite all of you, of course, that are not part of the members of the site yet to please join the site, because there's a lot of information that is not only of spiritual in nature, but a lot of things pertaining to what is happening now, because it's very important that we are aware of what's happening now to be able to affect the change that we need to do on this planet, to turn things around. We need to be very cognizant of what's going on and not stick our heads in the ground. But anyway, she was, we were there to the very top of that area of Bunny Flats, and I said to her, let's do the Kadosh 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 Adonai Sebayot to honor of course the Creator, and to get ourselves into a higher vibration so that we can get ready for the meditation. And she goes, oh, please teach me how to do that. I don't know how to do that. What is it that you say? How do you say it? So I taught her, it's Kadosh, 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 Adonai, Sebayot. And I told her, okay, let's sing it the way that I was taught to sing it. Because by singing it, and not only do you put the vibration of course, the sound of the actual music with it, it also teaches you or helps you remember what the words are and how it should sound and stuff like that. So I started teaching her. I said, okay, this is the way that I do it when I'm by myself, and I sing it, because it's almost like an honor. I'm giving honor and reverence to the Creator. So I'll say, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebayot, and then I'll stop, and then I'll go Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebayot. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebayot. Alright, so you do it at least 3 times. Better if you do it 12. And 100 million fold better if you continuously do it. You don't always have to sing it. But singing it is really, really wonderful. So anyway, I said, let's do it 12 times. So we started. So she sang with me. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebayot. And we stopped. And all of a sudden, a little bird goes, tweet, tweet. And so we looked at each other and we giggled. I go, wow, that's cute. So we went again. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebayot. The bird goes, tweet, tweet. And now we're like, you're kidding me. No way. This is happening. We did it again. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebayot. We stopped. The bird goes, tweet, tweet. And now we couldn't believe it. So we did it 12 times, and each time we stopped in between, this bird goes tweet, tweet, every single time, as it was joining in the praise, in the honoring of the divine Creator. And, it brings me to tears, because, the natural world is so in tune with this, and humanity has lost its way. We've lost our way, many of us, on the planet. And, the thing is that the Divine Mother right now is between the radiation that's being emitted out through Fukushima and so many other nuclear plants, and the oil spills and the atrocities that are being committed with different life forms, the fishing of the oceans, the killing of the whales and the dolphins, and all the marine life, and even the animals that are being put into these cages and tortured and then killed for food. The atrocities are just endless, not to mention, of course, all the suffering that happens with humanity. That, if we only just knew that our Creator is just so... to be not aligned with that is mind-boggling to me. But I can tell you that the natural world is aligned to that. It's just that humanity has quashed it from expressing, quashed it from being enjoyed, quashed it from thriving. And those are the obvious. That's the part of the spectrum of the darkness that we need to correct. And that's the reason that is so imperative, and why I don't give up in trying to hone in this information to all the light workers that are here in embodiment right now, as to I'm pleading with you to please wake up and to please be engaged and be in that mode where we're working towards the same goal, which is to bring this planet back to the higher vibrations, where everything is honored and revered and allowed to thrive. So with that, I am leaving you all. I'm hoping that you do use this as a tool that will connect you directly to the Prime Creator, to all the realms of the illumined worlds, where all these beings of light are there, ready to be of help should you need them. I have many other stories to tell, but there isn't enough time to tell them. But rest assured that when you use this, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Sebayot, and you do decide to do it continuously as part of your thoughts, to replace your thoughts with that, to when you're driving, to be saying that, if it's not out loud, then in your own thoughts, I promise you that your vibration will be elevated to such a point that you will be able to experience these worlds that I talk about, that you will be able to experience the ultra-terrestrial beings, that you will be able to change your vibration to the point that if a ship of light were to come, for whatever reason, that you will be able to be allowed on board because your vibration matches. That you will be able to be protected against any things that are not of the light and that are not in alignment with the divine blueprint of the divine Creator. I promise you that your life will change. You will feel much, much better. You will feel less influenced by the darker forces and less messed with. It's just a matter of doing the work. And so a work, of course, being something that you need to do, that basically brings about change. And I will read the definition of work again. It's proactively engaged in putting our experience. Well, that's not the one. That's what we do. But it's for us to proactively be engaged in putting our experience and talent and our higher vibration into action to affect the change that we want to see in this world. Again, you've been listening to Shattering the Matrix with Ari Koppel, hoping that I've made a difference today in your life, I hope. That's the aim. And that you can go ahead and do the same with others, knowing that we're all in it together, and that we're in service to others, not to self. That we're here to help humanity and all life express itself the way that it was meant to be originally. You can catch the show every Thursday evening, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Thursday night. Thank you very much for joining. God bless you. Bye-bye.